You guys like Dora? Let's stop and think. What does relevancy and significance mean? Muy bien! That's right! So, when your information is relevant to what you're writing about, it means that it's connected or it's on topic. If your information is significant, then that means that your information is important. Today, we're going to be looking into some questions that we can ask ourselves and determine essentially how do we know if the information we're bringing into our essay is both relevant and significant to what it is we're writing about. So let's take a look. So let's get into this, shall we? How do we stay on topic with our information? Well, for each one of your facts you end up pulling out, you're going to want to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first question you'll want to ask is, does this fact directly prove or support my thesis statement? And if not, can I easily explain how it proves my thesis statement? If I can't easily explain that, then maybe I should use a different fact. Now, up until this point, you've probably just been pulling in a bunch of different notes, so you're not going to necessarily know which one of your facts are relevant until you've actually sat down and asked yourself, okay, where do I stand on this argument? Am I for or against school uniforms or video games as, contributing to youth violence sort of thing? Once you've determined what your thesis statement is, you can look at each of your facts and ask these questions. I'm going to show you an assignment where you're going to go through with a checklist to check each of your facts to make sure they're relevant and significant. So you don't necessarily need to pause the video yet and ask yourself these questions. But once again, does this fact directly prove or support my thesis statement? And if not, can I easily explain how it proves it? Or should I maybe use a different fact? Next, it's not just important for your facts to be relevant or on topic, it's also important for your information to be significant. In other words, important or powerful. So, some questions you can ask yourself to determine if each of the pieces of evidence you're using is actually significant. The first one is, does my information come from a reliable source? Remember, reliable, aka it has an author posted, it's recent, yada, 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 that stuff. Number two, is the information I present relevant, aka making sure that it checks off these questions here. And finally, this is the one that's unique to this category, are the implications or effects of the information I'm using far-reaching or global? Now, what do I mean by this last one? By this last one, I mean, is the fact or statistic I'm bringing just important to the single case that it was brought up in, or does it actually matter or connect to other people as well? Say we were talking about school uniforms and you went to your sister and asked, do you like school uniforms? And in a formal interview, she answered, yes, she does like school uniforms. Does the quote from your little sister potentially speak for everybody in the United States, or at least most students in the United States? Probably not. Her quote it probably isn't significant enough. But if there was a national news network that interviewed a bunch of different students and got a bunch of different quotes from different students, and most of the students said that they enjoyed school uniforms, then you could probably take one of those quotes, and that quote would be significant because the opinions of those students reflect a larger opinion of multiple people. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's have you guys pause the video here and just pull up your notes and the outline that you started creating yesterday. So you can find both the slides from this lesson up here in the notes materials, and also you can find the checklist for determining whether or not your facts are relevant and significant underneath the assignments tab here. Underneath April 1st relevancy and significance checklist, if you click on this, then you'll be able to view a copy of this checklist here. What you're going to do is you're going to pull this up. You're going to click and drag this top tab from up here. You're going to move it to one side of your screen, and then you're going to move this, your outline notes section, over to the other side of the screen like this. Once again, I'm just clicking and dragging the tops of these pages so I can see both of these things side by side. And now at this point, I'm going to look through each piece of background and evidence that I've put in my outline, or if you just have a page of unorganized notes that you're about to organize, it works for this as well. Look at each piece of look at each piece of evidence that you've compiled and then ask yourself these questions. 1, does this fact directly prove or support my thesis statement? So my thesis statement in this case is students should not be forced to wear uniforms because they take away student individuality. In this case, the claim, take away student individuality, does this piece of evidence, 30 students in one classroom, each with a uniform, that I took from a particular article, does this piece of evidence support my claim that 30 students all wearing a uniform, that uniforms take away student individuality? Does it directly prove it? No, maybe not so much, but can I easily explain how this fact proves my thesis statement? Well, yeah, because if there are 30 people in one classroom and they're all looking exactly alike, especially when they're confined to a small space, then each student doesn't look as individual as they could. So I need to make sure that if my evidence doesn't directly prove my claim, I come in here to my analysis and I explain exactly how that evidence supports my claim, okay? Now, in addition to that, significance of my info. Are my facts powerful? 1, does this fact come from a reliable source? Let's see, I did take this from the 2019 census. The census is a government survey, essentially. So government surveys do tend to be pretty reliable. There's not so much fake information there. Is this fact relevant? Yes, it is. I connected it using my analysis to my thesis statement right here. And finally, are the implications far-reaching? In this case, my piece of evidence is far-reaching because the background source that I took this from stated that the average class size of students in America with school uniforms are 30 students in one class, which means that no matter where you go, most schools in America that have uniforms do have 30 students in one classroom. So because this fact isn't just one case, but spans over all of the United States, it's significant, okay? If you want to run any facts by me so I can check to see if they're reliable, if they are far-reaching, if they directly support your thesis, feel free to email me, feel free to text me. You can also, or call me rather, you can also come in during my office hours and run stuff by me. At the end of this lesson, don't forget you also need to take the quiz exit ticket relevancy of info form. Okay, and when you're done with that, by the end of today, you should be completely done researching and you should hopefully have organized your information into a structure that is organized based on how your thesis is, okay? So by the end of today, you need to make sure that you use this checklist here to double check all of your facts. You need to make sure your facts are organized. You need to make sure you complete the exit ticket quiz, because tomorrow we're going to be starting our work on your counter argument paragraphs, and on Friday, your conclusion paragraphs, which means by next Monday, you should be done with a complete written out first draft. So let me know how I can help you. Best of luck to you.